How many rematches have you fought?
0.
What do you have to do to create enough separation where this don't happen again?
Whew, it's a good question. It's going to be based on my training camp. I have to push myself a little harder. If that didn't get me the win.
Lamont wins the rematch?
Nah, I don't think he wins the rematch.
Takes it more seriously this time?
I think he takes it more serious. I think he now is in the ring with him, and I think he beats him much more clear.
Tank Davis turns up the heat, ahead of Roach rematch. Gervonta. Tank Davis is cranking up the pressure on Lamont Roach Jr. as their highly anticipated rematch approaches on August 16th. After their first bout ended in a controversial draw, Davis has made it clear he's not interested in leaving anything to chance this time. Never one to hold back, Davis recently took to X, formerly Twitter, to fire shots at Roach's mindset, writing, "Your soft self is just happy you didn't get put to sleep. Your dad was jumping up and down in the corner just because y'all made it to the 12th round. Get out of here." It was a direct hit at the Roach camp, suggesting their excitement at simply going the distance exposed a lack of real confidence in victory. But Davis didn't stop there. He's now doubled down, promising a definitive outcome in the rematch. "This time, I'm doing the job. I'm putting him out cold. No more close calls, no more debating. You either survive or you don't. He better be ready for the stretcher." It's a chilling warning, one that has fans buzzing about the potential for a knockout highlight. For a fighter with Tank's reputation for explosive finishes, this isn't just bravado, it's a promise. And for Roach, it's a threat he can't afford to ignore. Roach, for his part, hasn't taken the criticism quietly. He fired back with a mix of defiance and indifference, reminding Davis that he absorbed everything Tank threw at him in their first fight and was still standing when the final bell rang. On social media, Roach clapped back, "Y'all think I care about what y'all think I'm doing or not doing? Lol, obviously what I'm doing is working for me. Can't wait to see the looks on y'all faces again this summer." It's a confident tone, but one that some critics view with skepticism. They point to Roach's recent demeanor, particularly what many saw as an overly celebratory attitude following the draw, as evidence that he may be satisfied with simply surviving, rather than determined to dominate the division's most feared puncher.
Like the betting me that he gonna knock me out and stuff like that, that didn't go too well for him.
Did y'all bet?
Oh, we bet and we shook on it.
He paid up?
He changed his number.
Still, the pros are talking, still making predictions about what they think will happen next. Joe Rogan's recent comments have reignited one of boxing's most heated debates. Was Gervonta Davis truly outclassed by Lamont Roach in their first encounter? The controversy has only grown since their March the 1st clash, where Davis, long seen as an unstoppable knockout artist, was brought to his knees in the 9th round by a sharp, punishing shot from Roach.
What you think? I'm mad because I felt like he didn't take it seriously. Like, I don't think for 1 second that Tank is going to lose a rematch. I think Tank is going to win a rematch. I feel like this reminds me of that Floyd fight when he fought Luis Chavez or something. I forget his name. But
it was the kind of moment that can redefine a fighter's legacy, a humbling experience in a sport where the line between dominance and defeat is razor thin. Yet, the referee's decision not to rule the knockdown proved pivotal. It preserved Davis's undefeated record and allowed him to escape with a controversial majority draw.
What's next for Tank? Where does he go from here? Is it a rematch or is he gonna do something goofy?
This is why I don't like Tank and I could never really root for him. He got too much power. Not physically, I'm talking about socially.
Yes.
Tank he don't have fans. Most people who claim they're a fan of Tank, they're really a groupie.
Yeah.
You're a groupie. Here's the thing. How many times I had a favorite fighter and they lost and I let them take that accountability. Like, I'm holding accountable. If you're my favorite fighter, I'm still holding you accountable. Yeah. If you do wrong, you do wrong. If you get slept, you get slept.
Never one to hold back, Joe Rogan weighed in on the fight during an episode of The Joe Rogan Experience, alongside comedian Tom Segura. In his trademark blunt, no-nonsense style, Rogan broke down the bout and Davis's performance, clearly unimpressed. He had that fight with Lamont Roach where it ended in a draw, and it was a legitimate draw, Rogan said, before doubling down with a sharper critique. You could even argue that Roach won that fight. It's the kind of comment that stings, especially coming from Rogan, whose massive platform reaches millions and holds serious weight in the combat sports world.
The hardest punch I ever faced? No. And I ain't shitting on him or nothing like that. He can punch. But Jonathan Okendo, he's from Puerto Rico. Bro, he got bricks in his hands, bro. I lied to you not. He punch hard. I ain't gonna lie. He a hard hit, motherfucker.
Context is everything. And in Davis's case, it's especially significant. His reputation has been built on ruthless knockouts and an almost mythic aura of power. But as Rogan pointed out, every fighter eventually hits a wall, a moment when the physical gifts that once made them unstoppable begin to fade. There's a point where the greats just stop being what they were, Rogan said, drawing comparisons to other legends of combat sports whose dominance eventually waned. For Davis, that 9th round stumble against Roach might have been that moment, a visible crack in the armor that even his most loyal supporters can't ignore.
I just so happen to be a boxing fan that the fact that I do watch him fight, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really like boxing.
Are you open to immediate rematch?
In my contract, immediate rematch was signed. I signed for the immediate rematch when I signed for the first fight.
Right.
Just in case he lost or just in case it was a draw.
So when you got a rematch clause, how long we taking?
It's up to the A side and when they want to fight. So I'm thinking it's gonna be soon. I'm hoping it's gonna be soon. Let's say that.
What is soon to you? When you say soon to me, I'm thinking a month.
I'm thinking July.
I'm thinking July for sure.
This perspective isn't just fan speculation. It's shared by fighters themselves, including Shakur Stevenson, the reigning WBC lightweight champion. Stevenson has a direct stake in how Davis performs in the upcoming rematch with Roach. Known for his near-flawless technique, Stevenson has openly expressed doubts about whether Davis can pass the Roach test a second time. Speaking to the ring, he shared his concerns about Davis's striking. When it's a rematch, I don't look at it like everybody else. I know what Tank is dealing with, so Tank's going to have to be at 100%, his best and beyond, Stevenson said.
Did you see like him kind of messing with his eye, or did you have any indication that that was something that was bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
you jabbed him.
Before I jabbed him. Even that right hand that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it. But after that, you can see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you can see him wipe his other eye. So it's like it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye.
This isn't just idle speculation from Stevenson. He sparred with Roach, felt his power, and witnessed firsthand the kind of grit the challenger brings to the ring. I know that me and Tank is the big fight, so it worries me that I don't get my opportunity to fight him as an undefeated fighter with Lamont Roach in front of him, Stevenson continued, hinting that a loss for Davis could diminish the appeal of their potential mega fight. It's a calculated risk to bet that Tank can handle Roach in the rematch. But, as Stevenson admitted, he already knew Roach wasn't going to get the decision in their first fight, suggesting he saw the cracks in Davis's game long before most did.
I think it's dangerous for him to go back in there and fight Lamont. I think Lamont is a hell of a fighter. I can see that going left, so he better be on his A game.
What makes Stevenson's doubts especially compelling is that he's not alone. Other fighters and analysts have echoed his concerns, pointing to that controversial 9th round as the moment Davis's aura of invincibility began to crack. Roach, meanwhile, has fully embraced the underdog role, leaning into the narrative that he was robbed in their first fight. He's channeled that energy into his training camp, doubling down on his claim that Davis isn't as unbeatable as his knockout. Stats suggest it's a dangerous mindset for a champion, especially one like Davis, who has built his career on intimidation and early finishes.
Got your eye on Tank. What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fighting?
Man, Tank, disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. He called cap on it. So if you gonna call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it.
We got the rematch announced today with him and Lamont Roach. I think
they announced it today?
So what do you think, considering you were one of the handful of people to pick Lamont Roach, giving him a tough fight?
I think it's dangerous for him to go back.
The stakes for the rematch couldn't be higher. Davis isn't just fighting to keep his belt, he's fighting to maintain his position at the top of the lightweight division and to preserve the mystique that has made him one of the sport's most feared punchers. A second disappointing performance against Roach could send shockwaves through the division, shaking the foundation of his fan base and potentially derailing the lucrative matchups waiting on the horizon. For Stevenson, this isn't just about money or legacy, it's about timing. If Davis loses, the demand for a Stevenson versus Tank showdown could vanish overnight. The narrative would shift from two unbeaten champions risking it all for greatness to a fading star desperately clawing his way back to relevance. That's a much harder sell to promoters and fans alike, especially those who have long viewed Tank as a wrecking ball with gloves.
What does the rematch look like between Lamont and Gervonta, you think?
I like Lamont in the rematch.
You were one of the few that kind of picked Lamont to begin with. Why was that?
I sparred with Lamont. I knew that he was a good fighter. He helped me get ready for the Oscar Valdez fight. And I knew his style with Tank style, what he was going to be able to bring to the table. I knew it. So,
did you really win 20 rounds?
I swear to God, on my daughter's life, I won that much money.
How different does a rematch look in your opinion?
The question of whether Davis can truly pass the Roach test twice has now become the defining storyline of his career. If he wins, the doubts will fade, critics will be silenced, and the narrative of his dominance will roar back to life. But if he loses, it could mark the start of a long, painful slide into boxing's unpredictable middle tier, where once great champions struggle to reclaim their former glory. The stakes couldn't be higher. As Rogan put it, everyone has a limited number of times they can perform at their best. For Gervonta Davis, August 16th might be his final chance to prove that his best is still enough.
Because I think that the next fight is going to be a whole lot better. And I think the next fight is going to end with somebody being on the canvas, in my opinion. But I think that Lamont Roach, I want to give a shout out to Lamont Roach for putting up such a amazing performance. We never seen anyone stand there.
Roy Jones Jr., a name that still resonates in boxing's halls of greatness, has also weighed in on the Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach rematch. Known for his blunt assessments and fearless takes, Jones told pro boxing fans he believes Roach is poised to shock the world once again. But Jones, always the strategist, made it clear he expects a more dangerous version of Davis this time around. "I think Roach shocks the world again," Jones said. "But the only thing different this time is Tank will come with a different attitude, a different personality, a different motivation. And I think Roach will do good again, but I think Tank will be more dominant this time."
Pause. When he punched me in my face, it me like, I was like, oh, that's all he got? Because he tried to punch me hard. And then one time we actually like in the ring was like, he said it to me first though. I hit him with a like flush body shot. He was like, man, that shit wasn't none. I thought you hit harder than that. I was like, nigga, I thought you hit harder than that. No, everybody you knocking out.
Jones's assessment carries serious weight, especially given his history of accurately reading fights. He's someone who understands what it takes to rise to the occasion, reinvent yourself mid-career, and come back stronger after setbacks. For Jones to suggest that Davis might flip the script this time is significant. But it also raises an uncomfortable question. If Roach can shock the world again, what does that say about Davis's supposed dominance? Not everyone shares Jones's cautious optimism about Davis.
Is that all the great fighters, when they have a controversial decision or a controversial night, they always go back to the scene of the crime and they make it right. Just to give a couple of examples, Floyd Mayweather versus Jose Luis Castillo, Floyd Mayweather versus Chino Maidana. I'll go back further, Roy Jones Jr. versus Montel Griffin, James Toney versus Montel Griffin.
Bill Haney, the ever outspoken father and head trainer of undisputed lightweight champion Devin Haney, had a more straightforward message for Roach. During an April 18th appearance on the Cigar Talk podcast, Haney delivered a blunt, almost dismissive piece of advice. "Lamont, get to work now," Haney said. "Get to work. Don't do too much talking. Listen, have Pops come sit down and talk because that's what we do. Devin's going to work and I'm going to talk. So, Lamont, get busy, man. Get busy." It's a statement dripping with the confidence, arrogance that has become the Honey family trademark. At the same time, it subtly reinforces a narrative that, despite Roach's impressive showing in the first fight, he's still a step behind the division's elite.
Like that when Tank come to fight, Tank come to knock you out. Tank don't come to just beat you by decision. He come to take you out. He come to try to get the job done best way he can. And he loves to come there and entertain the fans. He's not there to play around. He's trying to smoke you. That's what life's supposed to be about. Roach is not just your average everyday opponent. Roach is a person who knows Tank, who's been around Tank his whole life. This is a different fight. You can't put Roach to the side like this. I'm sorry. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to win the fight. I don't know that. But Roach cannot be this underrated like that. You understand? You got to understand that Roach came from basically.
But if there's one voice that truly stands out amid all the chatter, it's Ben Johnson, one of Roach's closest teammates and main sparring partners. Speaking with Fight Hype. On April 16th, Johnson offered a perspective that cuts through the noise and highlights the growing confidence within Roach's camp that their man has Davis's number. "I think the look's going to stay the same," Johnson said confidently. "Roach being the winner, the better guy overall. I just think it's going to start a little bit earlier, and yeah, it's just going to be even better than the first one. I picture Roach getting his hand raised."
Tank, you want to get beat up by Devin. Listen, all the tapes are out, everything is out. You know, I won the money. I know I'm not supposed to be gambling and stuff, but I won the money. That was clear. We seen everything. It's out, Tank. You know.
Oh, you trying to say the blueprint is out?
Huh?
The blueprint is out, you were saying?
No, right now. Okay. Everybody know old Crazy Bill just ain't just crazy no more. You know, thankful to Lamont Roach and Team Roach. Yeah. Right.
For those who watched the first fight closely, this perspective isn't entirely out of left field. Roach's ability to make Davis look uncomfortable, forcing him to fight at a pace he clearly wasn't prepared for, is a strong indication that the underdog might have cracked the code. Johnson doubled down on this, adding, "I feel like everybody should know that Roach won. I feel like Tank definitely feels that way too." He felt it as soon as the crowd started booing him after the draw, and he started talking and all that.
Honestly, I thought I should have won without that being counted a knockdown. Look, I ain't the ref. I ain't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he had to wipe sweat out his eye, he had to wipe sweat out his eye. But the rules do state, if you voluntarily take a knee, then that's an automatic 8 count. But it is what it is. I wasn't relying on that. I was relying on what I was doing in there. I think I was taking control. I think I was landing more shots. I think I was landing more power shots.
The confidence coming from the Roach camp stands in sharp contrast to the unease settling over Davis's side. Despite all his talk about knocking Roach out in the rematch, Davis's recent actions suggest a fighter struggling to control the narrative. His reluctance to face certain opponents, especially high-risk fighters like Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis, has not gone unnoticed. The once-feared knockout artist now finds himself facing uncomfortable questions about his willingness to take on genuinely